Hello kids, how are you all? Class 9th has started, but the books are yet to come. It will take another 2 weeks to get the book published and get into the market. So we should not be stopping ourselves from studying. Let us get our basics clear by that time. And when your book will come, then we will again go through the book, again go through the lessons and see what we have missed, and we will add on in our knowledge. So we will start with the syllabus of biology. The first topic which is mentioned is cell, and in cell the first thing that is written is discovery of cell. The word discovery and invention are two different things. Invention means something new has been created by the scientists or by some physician or maybe by some normal people and are given to the world. For example, invention of telephone, invention of TV, or maybe invention of internet. However, discovery means that the thing was already there in the world. It's just that we did not know about it. For example, invention of microscope led to the discovery of cell. Is it clear now? So we are going to start how this little tiny structure called cell was discovered. There was a British scientist by the name of Robert Hooke. In 1665, he used two simple lenses, and when he focused the light on it, he saw a piece of cork cell getting magnified. He was amused by this when he saw some small, very tiny hexagonal structures, just like a beehive, the honeycomb, the house which bees make to collect nectar. When he saw these, he immediately got reminded of very small rooms which were there in, at that time, you can say, in monasteries or in jails. Even now in India, in Andaman, we have cellular jail. Cell means a very small room. So he thought these are very small, tiny places, and they reminded him about tiny rooms which he saw in a monastery or maybe in a prison. So he named them cell. And what did he see for the first time? He saw cork. You know what is cork? Cork is a tree. The wood from that tree is shaped into small cylindrical pegs which are used to close bottles. You must have seen bottles closed with a piece of wood. That piece of wood is actually cork. So what did Robert Hooke actually see? He saw dead plant cell. Why dead and why plant? Cork is coming from the plant, so it is a plant. There is a difference between dead and non-living also. A thing which was alive once and now is no more, like cork. It was once a part of a living tree. When the tree was cut, it is no more, it has died, or that maybe that branch is no more a part of the living tree. So this cork is a dead thing. Whereas a plastic piece from which you can make jug, cup, or even this pen, was it ever living? No. So these are not dead things, these are non-living things. So Robert Hooke actually saw dead plant cell, and in that also, because this is a dead cell, he did not see anything living inside. What he saw was just the outer cover. Later on, in another video when we will be studying about the cell structure and the different parts of cell, you will come to know that the outermost wall of a plant cell is called the cell wall. This cell wall is not a part of animal cell. It is only present in plant cell. So what Robert Hooke actually saw was the cell wall of a dead plant cell. He got very amused and he also wrote a book on this, which is called Micrographia. This is a very famous book, Micrographia. It was written by Robert Hooke. Now, when this news spread, there was another scientist named Anton von Leeuwenhoek. In some books you will find von, in some books you will find van. In old CBSE books, NCRT books, van is written, so I am using that. Anton von Leeuwenhoek. He improved Robert Hooke's microscope. He made it a little more advanced and he saw pond water in this under his microscope. Now you know pond water is never clean. Can you drink pond water? No. It has lots of microorganisms. But way back in 1665, we were not aware of these microorganisms, isn't it? We were not knowing that this pond water has some tiny organisms which can make us fall sick. So when he saw pond water, a drop of pond water under his microscope, he saw some small tiny living cells, and because they were moving, he said that these are tiny animals and he named them animalcules. Because they were moving around, he called them animalcules. At that time, it was not known that even plants, some plants can move about. Some unicellular plants can move about. Algae, you know what is algae? The green scum which is there in pond water, that is a plant. So maybe Anton van Leeuwenhoek saw a tiny living plant cell or a tiny living animal cell, but he termed them as animalcules. But Anton van Leeuwenhoek was not very interested or not very keen in studying the structure of cell. He got more fascinated in his small tiny animalcules and he did lots of work in these microorganisms, in studying these microorganisms. So he is known as father of microbiology because he did lots of work in microorganisms, studied various types of organisms, and he also published various papers on them. So Anton van Leeuwenhoek is known as father of microbiology. Just now we finished the topic discovery of cell and now let's move ahead in the syllabus. There were other scientists also who wanted to see about the different parts of cell and what is it that when you place a certain thing under a microscope, you see a whole together new world, a different world which has some things moving or maybe a totally different structure. A structure which you see outside is totally different from what is there inside. So the next scientist who studied about cells is Matthew Schleiden. He was a German scientist and he was a botanist. Botanist is that person who studies about plants. So he was so much in love with plants, whatever plant part he got, he used to see under his microscope. Maybe a part of root, stem, leaf, whatever. So he placed all such parts under his microscope and what he concluded in his study was that all plant parts are made up of cells. So he was a German scientist, Matthew Sheldon, and he wrote that all plant parts are made up of cells. The next name is of Theodor Schwann. When Matthew Sheldon was studying on plants at the same time in Germany, in a different part of Germany, another scientist, Theodor Schwann, was studying on animals. He was a zoologist, a person who studies about animals. They were not classmates, they were not friends, they were not doing their research together. It's just a coincidence that the same year when Matthew Sheldon was studying on plants, he was studying on animals. So Theodore Schwann studied different animal parts, maybe a hair, bone, blood, whatever, and he concluded that all animal parts are also made up of cells. Now, when this was going on, there were other scientists who said that it's simple. You can take a microscope, you can even make your own microscope and see different things, and some entirely new world unreveals itself to you. So, the third scientist, Rudolf Virchow, when he was studying his cell, he saw cell division, a very different phenomena. Might be possible that they also had seen cell division, but they did not notice it. The first scientist who noticed cell division was Rudolf Virchow. So he saw cell division and he concluded that all new cells come from or arise from pre-existing cells. Now, the summary of these three, whatever these three scientists said, Matthew Sheldon, Theodore Schwann, and Rudolf Virchow, their combined study is known as cell theory. Cell theory has three postulates. Postulates means points. There are 3 points in cell theory. The first point says all living things. Now, Matthew Sheldon said about plants, whereas Theodore Schwann said about animals. They both are living things. We can club plants and animals together in one category called living things. So, the first point in cell theory says all living things are made up of one or many cells. Later on in another video, you will understand why I am writing this one or many cells. An organism, now I am not even saying plant or animal. It can be a plant, it can be an animal. So any organism which is made up of only one cell is known as unicellular. Whereas an organism which has more than one cell, there are many cells, that organism is known as multicellular. Unicellular, for example, amoeba, or maybe a bacteria, or maybe yeast. There are so many different examples and we will be studying about them, about the size, shape in our next video. Till then, you need to understand that all living things are made up of either one cell, then if it is made up of one cell, it is called unicellular, or many cells, then it is known as multicellular. Can you give me an example of multicellular organism quickly in the comments? Yeah, please write down. The second postulate says cells are the basic structural and functional unit of life. This statement means that cell is the fundamental unit of life. Cells are the building blocks of all living things. The basic structure. If a tree trunk is shaped in that way, it is because the cells in that tree trunk are aligned in that way. Or if our stomach is in this shape, then it is because the cells have taken up this shape. So, cell is the basic structural. Functional, whatever life processes are taking place inside our body, maybe respiration, circulation, digestion, excretion, all that is taking place actually inside the cell. If lungs are helping us in respiration, it is not actually lungs, it is actually inside the cells of the lungs. So this is what is the meaning of this sentence, that cell is the, we can also write that, cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. The third point is what Rudolf Virchow said. It is a totally different thing about cell division, but very important. He said, all new cells arise from pre-existing cells. What does this mean? That any cell which is made, any new cell which is coming up, is actually because some old cell, some pre-existing cell has divided. We are not thrown from the heaven. We were made because our cells of the parents have divided. Are you understanding? Or a plant seed. It is not thrown, it is made inside the plant. How is it made? By cell division. So these are the 3 points of cell theory. So children, today we have studied 2 topics, discovery of cell and cell theory. In the next video, we will be studying more about the cell. If you have understood my lesson, please follow, share, subscribe, like and comment. I will answer all your comments. Any problem you have, you can mention in the comment section. If you want to see this video in Hindi, I will provide the video link in the description section. You can check that also. Till then, goodbye, take care and keep studying.